HOA cops tried to seize my property, so I flashed my title and watched them back down. The sun beat down on Karen Street, a quiet cul-de-sac where every lawn was manicured to HOA perfection. I, Ellen Harper, stood on my porch, the deed to my family's land trembling in my grip. 2 officers loomed before me, badges glinting, their faces hard as the seizure notice they clutched. The HOA had orchestrated this year's of petty fines for my wildflower garden, my refusal to paint my mailbox beige, my defiance of their soul-crushing rules. Now, they'd convinced the county my property was non-compliant, ripe for seizure. My neighbors watched, an uneasy crowd forming, phones out, whispers sharp as knives. This wasn't just my fight. It was our street's reckoning. The lead officer, Malone, stepped forward, his voice clipped. "Ma'am, vacate now, or we'll escort you." My heart pounded, but I'd spent months preparing. My great-grandfather built this house with his hands. My mother died in its walls. This land was my blood. I raised the title high, its faded ink a shield. "Check the date," I said, voice steady. 1892. Predates your HOA by a century. This land's mine, free and clear. Malone's eyes narrowed, but he took the paper, scanning it. The crowd hushed, tension thick as summer air. Behind me, my daughter Lila, 17, whispered, "Mom, they're not backing down." She was right. The second officer, Ruiz, radioed for backup, his gaze cold. The HOA president, Marjorie Klein, stood smugly across the street, her clipboard a scepter. She'd hated me since I moved Ina single mom. Too loud, too free for her sterile kingdom. This was her endgame, but I wasn't folding. I'd found a loophole. My property's historic status, buried in county records, exempted it from HOA control. I'd spent sleepless nights digging through archives, fueled by coffee and rage. Then, a twist I hadn't seen coming. Old Mr. Callahan, the street's recluse, shuffled forward, his cane tapping. He'd never spoken to me in years, a ghost behind his blinds. "I got something to say," he rasped, pulling a yellowed envelope from his coat. The crowd parted, stunned. He handed it to Malone. "My deed's from 1890, same terms as hers. If you take her land, you take mine." His voice cracked, but his eyes burned. Marjorie's face drained of color. Callahan's lot was the HOA's prized greenbelt, their leverage over us all. If he fought, their empire crumbled. Malone hesitated, the deeds in his hands heavier than guns. Ruiz's radio crackled, but no backup came. The neighbors shifted, murmurs growing bolder. "She's right," someone called. "This is our street, not hers." Marjorie's clipboard slipped, her control unraveling. I seized the moment, stepping off the porch. "You want my land?" I shouted, voice raw. "You'll drag me off it first." Lila grabbed my arm, tears in her eyes, but she stood tall beside me. The crowd surged closer, phones still rolling, their support a fragile lifeline. Malone folded the notice, jaw tight. "We'll verify this," he muttered, retreating to his cruiser with Ruiz. Marjorie stormed after them, her heels clicking like gunfire. The crowd erupted cheers, jeers, a chaotic release. Callahan nodded at me, a ghost of a smile on his weathered face, then shuffled home. Lila hugged me, sobbing, and I held her, my own tears falling. We'd won for now, but the victory tasted bitter. The HOA wouldn't stop. Marjorie's vendetta was personal. And the neighbors? Their support could vanish with the next HOA fine. That night, I sat on my porch, the title safe in my safe. Lila slept upstairs, exhausted but proud. Callahan's light was on across the street, a silent ally. I thought of my mother, her wildflowers still blooming despite the HOA's poison. This fight wasn't just about land. It was about roots, memory, freedom. But at what cost? My neighbors had seen the truth, but division lingered. Marjorie's allies still glared from their perfect lawns. The county could still bend to her money. And me? I was marked, a target for daring to stand. The next morning, a new sign appeared on my fence, scrawled in Lila's hand. This land is ours. It was defiant, fragile, true. I left it there, a beacon for the next fight. Because there would be one. Freedom always costs blood, sweat, or both. I flashed my title, watched them back down. But the war wasn't over. It never is when you're fighting for home. What do you think? Whose side are you on? Is this justice, or just a pause in a bigger battle? Share your thoughts.